Okay, so I'm going to say that one more time. Sorry about that. We have Black Futures Farm, Feed the Mass, the Mike program, Multnomah County SNAP Outreach, and Meals on Wheels with us today. So we will go ahead and start with Nia Harris and Daniel Grady from Black Futures Farm. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Daniel. Nia's in one of these boxes somewhere.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Nia. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. We do have some slides just for visuals because I want to give y'all something to look at, even though we have beautiful faces too. And Daniel will start us off.
Okay, so welcome, everyone. I'm Daniel Grady. I am the lead farmer over at Black Futures Farm. We are located in Southeast Portland in the Brentwood Darlington neighborhood. So just a little history of the farm. BFF was a product of Malcolm and Mirbai, who are our co-directors. And this all kind of started as a seed in the head of Malcolm and has kind of grown or evolved into a garden of love and also a lot of food. So our mission is to reconnect Black people to the land through healthy food, community building, and experiential learning. So 4 years ago, they started this. So we actually commemorated the 4-year anniversary yesterday with a big day of service, which was so Martin Luther King Day is the actual day of service, but we had to reschedule to yesterday because of the weather last month. Let's see. Can you go to the next slide, Nia? Okay. So Black Sunday is our big program, our staple program. It's every Sunday from May to October, and it exists for Black people to come to the farm and just have a space to feel loved, seen, and connect with the land, which is, again, something that we really like to talk about. So a few of the projects we're working on now are solar energy, renewable energy. So we've got some solar panels in the works, which are going to go on top of a wash pack station, which is on the site where we wash and pack our veggies. So that way we'll be able to use or harness energy from the sun as opposed to using electricity or the electricity company. And I know everyone's excited to check that out. So that'll be ready in I guess about mid-March. And some of the stuff that we're growing a lot of the Pacific Northwest staples, a lot of root veggies, a few things that are culturally specific to us as Black people. So I am from North Carolina. The climate there allows for a few different types of crops than you have here. So a few things that are near and dear to me were sweet potatoes and okra. So we've experimented with the sweet potatoes last year. We got a pretty high yield, a little over 130 pounds, I'd say. And then for okra, this is going to be our first year doing the okra. We're going to grow those inside of a high tunnel, and that allows for an extended season. So it's a little warmer in there, it stays warmer for longer. No rain inside of the tunnel, so that's a big benefit. And I guess I'll pass it over to Nia. She'll go more in depth about the nonprofit side of things.
I was muted. Thank you, Daniel. Other things that we do at Black Futures Farm, we have occasionally hosted a CSA through different partnerships, including Multnomah County Reach. We donate a lot of our food to local school pantries, as well as other nonprofit organization pantries like Equitable Giving Circle, Feed the Mass, and Freedom Foundation, just to name a few. We offer volunteer opportunities on weekly and monthly basis at the farm. A lot of community youth programs and events. We don't have youth programming. We welcome youth programs to host things on the farm. And that's how a lot of our community events work, where we create the space and collaboratively work with groups, whether they be nonprofits or businesses, to create experiences on the land. We've also done markets in the past, like Come Through Market, My People's Market, And later in the season, we'll do pop-ups where folks can come purchase, or not purchase, actually just take produce from the farm. Something to mention is most of the food, like 90% of our food, is donated or given away freely. We try not to sell our food because we feel like food should be free, and or free for all, more accessible, fairly affordable, because we all got to eat. That's a life necessity, and we know that at the farm. A big part of what we do and how we do it is cooperative work and collective governance goals and responsibilities. So this is where we rely on communities, including individuals, groups, and nonprofit service providers, to think about ways to give back. So we host a lot of volunteers, but we also have worked collaboratively with people to build our structures on the farm, like our wash pack station. We are learning how to work with the folks within the clean energy sector. We have a lot of tech needs that as farm folk, we are not as privy to. So we work closely with people who have experience with technical support, whether it be admin or operations or grants or website design, or figuring out better ways to utilize our tools and our current projects to grow our impact, to measure our impact, to map our impact, and actually see that as a visual. A lot of our clean energy work is through Portland Clean Energy Fund, and we've been able to really deepen our presence through collaboration and partnership, but also physically. We recently acquired a headquarters for our entire organization to house clean energy programming, but also food hub work and just general community workshops. And so I will segue into the Black Food Sovereignty Coalition. That's our parent organization. Before I do that, I want to make sure you see Daniel and his sweet potatoes. This was a huge success for him, and we are always showing it off because sweet potatoes are a big deal in Portland, especially. So we want to give space for that. Here's another basket of harvest that we had last year with some peppers, eggplant, squash, zucchini, a sunflower, and maybe some other goodies in there. Yeah, so just started with the farm. We'll segue back into Black Food Sovereignty Coalition, which is our parent organization. Black Food Sovereignty Coalition is a collaboration hub that empowers Black and Brown leaders at all areas of the food system. So that's production, distribution, marketing, even packaging and cooking and things like that. And so we empower folks at all areas of the food system. And we also do this with our mission focusing on food, place, and wealth. And so a big part of the farm is having a place to grow food, but also to congregate. We're on public parks land. It's very significant for us to be taking up space on public parks property, considering the history of Portland and the history of Oregon, and the very present day realities of racism and a lot of gatekeeping when it comes to public space and public resources. Other affiliated programs, Grandma's Hands used to be a part of Black Food Sovereignty Coalition, but is now its own initiative. It's a multi-generational Black cooking event where they get produce from Black and Brown farms and have grandmothers and elders cook food for youth and adults and teach recipes and have that bonding and connected experience through ancestral foodways. Another big part of Black Food Sovereignty Coalition is the Come Through Black and Indigenous Market, managed by Shiny Flannery, our interim executive director. Come Through is the only Black-run market in Oregon, in Portland, and is the only market that spotlights Black and Indigenous makers, producers, artisans, and just really beautiful creatives and folks doing incredible work. Come Through Market runs from May through October on first and third Mondays. And you'll see us there a lot of the time because, that's even if we're not selling our food or giving away our food, we're there in solidarity for just a beautiful offering for community members. This was a table when Daniel used to sell at Come Through, and we used to sell literally anything that we could get out of the ground, including grapes, apples, things like that from our fruit trees and bushes. Little close up on our
So
turnips.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. You're always there for me. Beets and onions. Yeah, I could go a little deeper, but I know we're going to come up on time. A couple other things that we do in partnership with community. We started the Vivian Barnett Food Systems Fellowship with Eco Trust, and I feel like I'm missing the other partner, but there was a bunch of folks who worked with us to create this Food Systems Fellowship, which had a cohort of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color doing food systems work in Oregon. Some notable features in this photo is Jenny from Wapato Island Farm. We have Quelle from Jasiri Farm. We have Mick Rose of Prism Sanctuary, Monique Lopez of Seven Waters, Art and Shantae of Mudbone Grown and Feed 'em Freedom Foundation. Lots of really cool people doing food work in the Portland area and greater Portland metro area. Yeah, and the last thing I'll touch on is our Back to the Root Black Growers Conference, which we have done for 3 years now. It's essentially a gathering where we bring all folks to this to a place to talk about Black food ways, but it is Black centered and Black led, but we do so with our allies and our folks who are supporting our mission and our joint struggle, honestly, and are helping us collaboratively think of ways to build a better food system and to grow ideas about, what are we missing? What aren't we seeing? What are our visions? What are our goals? And having a localized place to learn together and bridge those gaps in knowledge. And yeah, so that's a little bit more about Black Food Sovereignty Coalition and Black Futures Farm. And I'll pause there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nia and Daniel. Does anyone have any questions for either of them? I know I do. Okay. Okay. I just had oh, go ahead, Rebecca. Did you have one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you have a website available that we could go to for more information or to reach out to connect?
Yes, I can drop that in the chat. Our website is blackfutures.farm. Very
Okay.
simple. I'll also drop links in the chat, including our Instagram, our newsletter link, things like that.
Great. Thank you.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's just some ways to connect and learn about the events, both with your organization and the coalition, because that would be super great for the community too at large to learn more about that as well. So thank you so much for the work that you both do and your peers in the community, and just super excited to learn more about such an awesome organization and group of humans. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So next up, and I saw Daniel's, if Daniel and Nia, if you either of you wouldn't mind putting your email in the chat if you haven't already, just so folks can follow up too, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Jacobsen Valentine with Feed the Mass. I know I saw Jacobsen come on. Are you on, Jacobsen?
Oh,
Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
Awesome.
Hey guys.
Perfect. I know you're always in transition doing lots of different things, so thanks so much for joining us.
Oh yeah, no worries. I actually have been struggling with sending you a slide deck, so I apologize. It's on its way as we speak. But I'll kind of give you guys the verbal portion of this. Hi everybody, my name is Jacobsen Valentine. I'm the executive director and founder of Feed the Mass. Thank you guys so much for having me. I guess I'll kind of give you the lowdown of how we got started and then like kind of tell you what is going on as an organization. So we got started as a cooking class for kids, and that was kind of our big focus of how do we get kids in our community access to nutrition classes. As we know that home ec is one of the first things to go in schools nowadays, and getting them access to nutrition information is super hard considering that nutrition classes are only about a week long. So they go through 12 years of schooling and 1 week of nutrition classes. So for us as an organization, we wanted to teach them how to cook, teach them how to eat healthy, and also give them the ability to know that there is better options when it comes to the food that they have access to. So fast forward a little bit to 2020, the pandemic hit, and we came to a crossroads as an organization. We couldn't teach, we didn't know when we're going to come back, but we knew that there's a lot of people in our community that didn't have access to nutritious foods. And there were tons of stores who had a pretty much warehouse full of food that they didn't have a place for those food to go to. And so we started a gleaning program called Fed, where we take food from supermarkets and stores and farms and turn it into meals that we gave to anyone facing food insecurity. The way we saw it is it doesn't matter if you came by foot or by a car. If you are hungry, we're going to feed you. And we started helping out with the houseless camps that were throughout Portland. We started helping moms who had kids that weren't going to school. And at one point, we were doing about 6,000 meals per a week out of the kitchen that literally was the size of like a 1-bedroom house. So it was very hard for us during the pandemic, but we learned a lot of lessons. We grew as an organization. Now we're in a environment of the old Airbnb cafeteria, where we now have tilt skillets, we have ovens, we have 6,000 square feet of space, and we do about close to 2,500 meals per week, mostly going to those in the Safe Rest villages and to Urban League's assisted living. We also have events called Breaking Bread in Portland and Hillsborough, where we go to churches and we provide meals for church members before Bible studies. And then we're also working on our next step, which is our Feed the Kids initiative, where we are raising money for the Blazers Boys and Girls Club summer program. And we're going to provide after school or evening meals and also weekend meals for them, because we know that those children, a lot of the children don't have most dinners. The Blazers Boys and Girls Club provide breakfast and lunch, but when it comes to dinner, if they go home and there's no dinner, they don't eat. So we wanted to create a system where they're able to take frozen meals home and they can warm them up in microwaves or in an oven, and they have a hot meal every single day and making sure that they eat every single day. And that also includes for the weekends. One of our biggest next achievements is our food sustainability cooperative, where we're working with organizations like Black Future Farms, Black Food Sovereignty, Afro Village, and it's kind of like a 3-pillar scenario where we work with farmers, we work with meal producers or meal distributors, and us as a meal producer, and we work together to kind of create our own food system that takes food from farms and delivers it to the community through this program. This is huge because we're creating an opportunity for farms to become contractors, not retailers. Majority of farmers go and have their produce be done in markets and in farmers markets or pop-ups. And what we're trying to change the atmosphere is we want them to be contractors first, meaning they feed their community, whether it's in schools, whether it's through houseless services or meal services for the elderly. They feed their community first, and then they do retail as a bonus. So that means they're more sustainable, which means the food production is more sustainable, which also means the meal distribution becomes more sustainable. This is actually something that we are right in the middle of getting our new food efficiency center, where it's going to be a central location for in Portland, where all farms and meal producers can get food or deliver food. We process food, turn the meals, get it out to the community, and it's not a situation of how we're going to make it work. It's how many people are we going to feed this year. Our goal this year is to do 100,000, and we're well on our way to doing that. And in the near future, we're going to have our food efficiency center is going to be one of many that are going to be popping up through every county. That is like our goal in the next 3 years, to have a food efficiency center in every county. That way, every county has access to sustainable meals. Farmers have access to a place where they can get their food processed. And when it comes to food waste for farms, there is none. They donated to these programs. They're able to get a write-off, and they're able to actually be able to not lose any money. And also the community is going to be consistently fed through our program. So that is Feed the Mass in a nutshell. I would love to also there is a community event that we are having on this Saturday. I'll put the link in the chat. It is the Feed the Kids night, where we are going to be raising $60,000 for kids, the Blazers Boys and Girls Club, for their summer programming. Love for you guys to all join. It is free, and it's just going to be a good time. We have food from Miss Delta and Sports Bra and Bolden Treats. We're going to have music. We're going to have vendors there, local farms that are going to be talking with the community about how this system, their food sustainability cooperative, is going to be helping the community and what they're doing for the community. There's going to be city officials. There's going to be OHSU's our sponsor for the event, so gracious for them. But it's really a way for us as a community to come together, start putting our heads together on how we're going to solve the food security crisis that we have in our community. And it needs to start with our kids, because they're going to be our next leaders. So we need to start preparing for them. So love to have you guys there. And like I said, I'll share the link and everything in the chat. But until then, please, any questions, you have to answer them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacobsen. Do you have a flyer for that event as well?
Yep,
Awesome.
I can email that to you. But I'll put the link for the event if you guys want to sign up. Again, it's free. It's in Southeast Portland. There's gonna be beer, wine, food, and dancing. I will get on the dance floor and shake my tail feather. So I hope you all can join me.
I love it. I love it. What an awesome event and awesome programming. And if any of you ever need catering services, is that still, oh, I don't want to speak on your behalf.
Yeah.
And
No, if you have needs for catering, whether it's a board meeting or a big event, we do catering. And we love to, be able to support your guys's ventures and be a partner in any way, even if it's just feeding y'all.
which is huge.
Which is huge.
And
Yep.
because it's always so beautiful and lovely and tasty. So thank you so much. We definitely use Feed the Mess for all of the events that we can that don't have to be in-house. And so if you came to the Washington County Pass the Torch event, they fed us. So thank you so much, Jacobsen, and to Todd and all of your crew for all the work that you all do. Any questions for Jacobsen? Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
Nia.
yeah, I don't have a question. I just wanted to just name how significant it is that a lot of frontline community organizations are working together in partnership. Like, I know that's really common and people are like, yeah, everyone works together, but like the significance of closely building programs that are from the soil to the mouth to the stomach is so important and vital, because it's highlighting the ways that communities are learning to be more self-reliant and learning how to pull our resources and our wisdom and our intelligence together, and not looking to the city or the state or larger institutions to feed us, to meet our goals, to reach our people and to meet needs. And just, after our presentation, listening to Jacobsen, I think it's just so important to highlight how, these sound like cool nonprofit activities, but no, we're changing systems. We're evolving the ways that food works. And yeah, this is a really big deal. So I just want to say that again. And thank you, Jacobsen, for your presentation.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Nia. Absolutely. Hugely important work. And just want to thank both of your organizations and all of those who are working in partnership with you. It's big.
Lucia.
Yep,
Did
go
I say
for it.
that wrong? Lucia.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, you did it right. I was wondering, like the information that you were giving about the events and stuff, is that something that you can put like in the chat, or do you email that, or
Yeah,
how do
so
we?
I put the link in the chat for the event. So it's in the chat. And also, if you go to our website, feedthemass.org, all the information's on there as well. And that also includes the information about FSC. If you want to be a part of that group, again, you don't have to be a farm or a meal distributor to be a part of that group. It is literally just anyone who wants to better our community by creating a better food system can be a part of this group. So the more people a part of it, the better. And we actually have a meeting today at 12. So if you want to be a part of that, by all means. But yeah, no, it's definitely a situation of yeah, if you go to our website, I've spent hours upon hours of making sure that it's all the information about us and what we do and how we do it is on our website. So feel free to check that out. And I'll put it in the chat again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Sorry, I have another question as well. I'm curious about your catering. How do we get connected to you to do catering? Is that through your website as well?
Yes, and then also you can reach out to me. I'm gonna put my email as well. I'm usually the one kind of putting the catering orders together. So if you want to reach out to me directly, by all means, please. I would love to help you guys out. And again, don't feel like any budget is not a good budget. We try to work with as many people as possible, and we try to make sure that, like, if you can't afford a big thing, we'll try to work with you, and we have means to make it all work. So don't feel like, oh, I don't have a lot of money for an event. We want you to have a great event, because if your event is great, that means the community is getting something great, and that means that your organization is going to be successful. So if we can be any part of that, we will be a part of that.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Any other questions? Okay. All right.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys. I gotta jump off because I gotta actually go meet a contractor right now. So have a wonderful day, y'all. Thank you guys again so much for your time.
Thanks so much,
Email is
Jacobsen.
in the chat.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate all that you do. Have a great day. Okay, next up we have Justin Zellinger from the MIC program. Justin, are you there? You are. Did I say your last name correctly, Justin?
It's pretty close. That's Zellinger. And
Zellinger. Okay.
hopefully
Sorry.
you're all are seeing my screen. Is that happening?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, just bear with me one moment. Get set up here. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Justin. I'm the executive director with MIC program. And MIC program is a Portland-based nonprofit organization that really exists to address the health inequities, which are disproportionately affecting our communities. And we'll get into what those inequities are and the idea of health equity, but it sounds like this group is well versed in that based on the previous speakers. And there's a lot of great work happening in the space. So I'd love to tell you about what MIC program does and how we go about achieving our mission. Okay. MIC program goes about achieving our mission of achieving health equity through educational programming with youth. You can see a little bit about that here. We have two kind of flagship programs. One is our mentored health education program, where we bring in near age mentors. Those are near age to the youth that we're working with in high schools and middle schools, to talk to them about chronic disease prevention, simple messaging like eat healthy, get enough sleep, drink water, don't smoke, and you can increase your chances of living a healthier life. We include social justice topics. We talk quite a bit about mental health, the idea of disinformation in public health, and things that have become more upfront since the pandemic. So the program looks a little bit different in each school, each community, and we're specifically working in the communities who are most affected by health disparities. So this means that we're most often working in communities of color, in lower income communities, and also in rural populations. So we have programming across the Portland metro area in those communities, as well as some rural communities in the Willamette Valley. There's a little slide about what health equity means. And again, I'm sure some of you have already heard this term, but it's just the idea that there are systemic challenges that must be overcome to ensure that we all have an equal opportunity to live a healthy life. Right now, the best predictor of somebody's future health outcomes is the zip code where they live. And we know this from a variety of factors that inequitable access to healthy food, in our case, education, that's how we are going about making change in this area. And a variety of other challenges that exist, again, disproportionately affecting certain communities. We do not believe this needs to be the case. And again, many organizations are going about making positive change in this area. Mike does that by working with young people when they're still forming their opinions about the world around them, and through education. So we're kind of at the crossroads of healthcare, and the education system. And I'll talk about our programming in just a moment. But what sets us apart is we're actually working in the schools directly with health classes and health teachers, and then the mentors as well. The other side of the programming that I haven't spoken about, which I will come back to a little bit later, is introducing the youth that we work with to healthcare career opportunities. So another part of what we're doing is creating opportunities in that area, and also working with a really longer term goal to increase diversity and representation in the healthcare field. A little bit more about those disparities. Just let you take a look at that slide rather than read it off to you, but there are challenges in really every demographic area that are feeling the effects of these health disparities. So how can we affect these social determinants of health? There are many ways, again, to go about it, and we're really in this space of education. And again, yeah, that's how my program achieves our mission, is through educational programming with youth. You can see here's our programming objectives, kind of the ways we go about achieving our mission. This guides all of our programming, our impact assessment, and everything we do with our partnerships. We are working mostly in schools through students' existing health classes, but we also offer programming in other community settings, sometimes an after-school program. We've launched some summer camp programming, working with other vulnerable youth, in this case, foster youth, or young people that are experiencing houselessness. But most of our programming, again, does take place in schools. We bring in the mentors who are in collaboration with Mike's staff, creating and customizing programming and delivering it to students on a weekly basis, usually throughout an entire academic semester. So a sample class might look like we're introducing one of our topics for the week, which I'll go into in just a moment, but let's say it's healthy skin, something that is on top of mind for a lot of young people. We'll survey them and ask what they're interested in. And we'll talk about the topic, do a hands-on interactive activity or presentation, and then the second half of the class split up into small breakout groups where the mentors get a chance to connect with the youth and build a relationship with them over that entire semester. I often will say, it just so happens that we're talking about health education. It could be anything. It's just an opportunity for these young people to connect with somebody who's just on the next phase in their life, and in many cases comes from a similar lived experience or community as the youth that we're serving. And they get a chance to connect with them and talk about anything. They'll talk about the topic at hand, but oftentimes it goes in different directions, and they form that trusting relationship, week over week and as time goes on. So again, here's our programming objectives. Bear with me, I'm just looking at another screen here off to the side. a lot of what I've talked about is through the mentored health education programming, but again, we also do have a branch of our programming that is workforce development, specifically around healthcare careers. That happens by the programming I explained, but also we bring in guest speakers representing a variety of healthcare careers, different stages in those careers, and also different educational requirements, all the way from none, the work you can do right after high school, maybe with a small a certificate, all the way up to doctorate, PhD level education, and really just present all of those different opportunities and provide the resources so students and youth can pursue those goals if that is something they choose to do. We have some main kind of umbrella topics that we include in all of our programming, nutrition being one of the main topics, and there's so much to discuss within that, within access to healthy foods, just understanding the challenges around eating healthy and accessing foods, especially when sometimes the healthier foods are not the most affordable foods, and also understanding that young people aren't the ones cooking the meals at home, and there might even be some challenges to explain something to a student like, hey, you should be eating this and not this, here's why, and then expecting them to go home with that information and make those changes. So we do talk about how we can do that. Or if you're receiving food aid and you get a box that has a food you don't know what to do with, an eggplant, how do you cook it? And we'll do cooking demonstrations, or read nutrition labels to understand the difference between maybe this product versus that, and understand you can make some small changes, even young people, especially young people who oftentimes are grabbing what's quick and easy and affordable, and show them, here's this product with 50 grams of sugar versus this one with 20, and what's the impact that that's having on your body over time. All of our educational materials are built in collaboration with the schools that we're working with. So we'll build off of that curriculum and syllabus to supplement the work that they're doing. But we're also working at the state level to adhere to Oregon health education standards, and providing that information to the teachers, not to come in and say what you're doing is wrong or not sufficient, but here, how can we support? And oftentimes it's just a different way to explain and to connect with the students that makes the difference. They hear it from their health teachers over and over, but when we come in with a fun activity, and especially with the mentors who are cool and young and can connect with them, they'll hear it in a different way. Aside from nutrition, we're talking about physical activity quite a bit, and just the importance of moving. Sitting is the new smoking, and talking about, just don't just sit and stare at a screen all day. Get up and move around. And we also talk about the challenges that we all face, the mentors, the Mike staff, that these are ideals to live up to, but we have challenges, and that I'll talk about how I often will sit in front of a computer all day and find it hard to get up and move around, and just to share the challenges that are inherent in all of the things that we're explaining. Mental health, as you all know, a topic that is on top of mind for all of us, but young people especially, as we survey them, rural, urban, across all of the schools and communities that we work in, that is the top of all of our surveys of the topics that they're most interested in learning about and discussing. So we really incorporate it into all of the content that we deliver, but also talk about it as a standalone topic. Career exploration, once again, is an important part of what we're doing, and actually something that we're increasing our work in. We have found just a big need to help feed the pipeline in healthcare careers, but also in general to provide these opportunities in the kind of underserved communities that we're working in, and under-resourced communities, to point out different opportunities for people to help better their future outcomes. And here's some different roles, but we are presenting things that students might not have ever even thought about. And sometimes it's years later, whether it's on the career side or on the nutrition side of what we do, when something comes back in and they say, oh, I heard that in Mike program, and now I'm starting my own family, or I'm looking to start my career. And we're really trying to impact one student at a time and connect with them and just provide these different opportunities. So how can you support Mike program? I'll let you all read through that. And you all are, I won't talk about the need for funding, because I think a lot of us that working in the nonprofit space understand that, but we are completely community funded. And the more there's more need out there than we're able to serve. So the more staff that we're able to hire, we can serve the communities that would like to. We have some really important partnerships, both with the schools that I mentioned, other community settings. We also work with higher ed institutions to recruit mentors, but our partnerships are really what make everything possible. And those partnerships are with organizations like yours. I was really encouraged to hear the 2 previous speakers and the work that's happening in those spaces. We'd love to partner with organizations that are doing similar work or where we can support each other. So I think we have also boards and committees, a lot of ways to get involved for you personally or people that want to support our mission of health equity and working with youth. But I think for this group, the pitch I want to make is reach out to me. Let's have a conversation about how organizations can work together, or maybe you can point my program in a direction to make meaningful partnerships for program delivery, for mentor recruitment, or other partnerships at the state level, local level. We're a small team, just a few staff, and so we can't do it all, and we really rely on those important connections in the community. Looking at my time, I think I'm coming up to it. There's my information there. Call me, message me. I would love to connect with you all. And are there any questions?
Any questions for Justin? Looks like Leah has a question. Hi,
Oh,
Leah.
good morning, Justin. Thanks for sharing the presentation. As a partner agency, are you connected with Portland Community College and the work they're doing with the healthcare, their ramp up programs and that piece?
A little bit. I would like to work with PCC more for so many reasons, and to point our youth and our programming in that direction as an option. As far as the mentor recruitment, we haven't had anything that really stuck, but I would love to connect, especially with their health programs, if that's
Yeah, I'm actually stationed over I'm with ODHS, but we're stationed now at the new PCC Opportunity Center, and so I have good connections with them, and NAIA is one of our partners as well there. But their person over there, I think it would be beneficial for you to connect with her, and see if there's some things to work on that would be beneficial for both of you. I think they will have Multnomah County will be building a health center there at that location. They're just starting the construction process there at 42nd and Killingsworth. So it's I'm happy to introduce you by email to our PCC connector person, and that'd be really groovy.
That would be amazing. Thank you. What's your email address?
I'll put it in the chat, and then I'll just send you a little email and do a little introduction if that's okay.
Would love that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thanks for the presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Leah. And we have Maya.
Yeah. Hi, Justin. Can you just quickly put your contact in the chat? I missed that last little bit and I'd like to save it.
Doing that now.
Perfect. And just so you know too, Maya, that it is recorded, so you could zoom through some of the previous presenter if you wanted to catch up as well. But I know Justin would love to talk as well, I'm sure. Any other questions for Justin? I have a quick question for you, Justin. How do you decide which schools you're in, or how does that work as far as partners go? We might have some folks on the call who are connected with schools and might want to know.
Sure. We really believe that any school and any student would benefit from our programming, but because we have kind of limited resources, we do focus again in those communities that are most affected by health disparities. So we're looking at metrics and things like income levels in the community, or the rate of students who are on free reduced federal school lunches, amongst other factors. But it's also relationship based. So if we connect with a school who says, we love what you're doing, we would love to be there, we'll have that conversation and see how we can make it happen. We have limited staff capacity, so there's actually a bit of a waiting list. And so finding creative ways to fundraise and to support the funding needed to bring on new programming is part of that conversation. Sometimes we also have some great funding partners. So it varies, but starting a conversation, if there's a school who's interested, really looking to expand into Washington County a bit more, as well as kind of further east and all over really Portland metro area. We do have some goals for expansion and bringing on new partners. So just start the conversation, reach out to us is a great way to go about that. it's a bit of a long process as well. You know, it's not something that, hey, here's Mike Program's binder, you all run with it. It sometimes takes many months or even a year plus from starting that conversation to when we actually get into the classroom. Layla, that's a question.
Hi there. So thank you so much for doing that. Such a needed support for the youth. Do you serve those youth that English is not their first language?
We work in many schools where youth, oftentimes Spanish might be a first language. We do have some resources. We'll partner with certain culturally specific organizations to provide content and in this case, Spanish language information. But our programming is exclusively done in English. So it's a challenge that we haven't really overcome in that sense. But we do try to provide resources in other languages where we can. So we do an okay job at that, but certainly could do better.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, awesome. Thanks, Justin, so much. Thanks for all the work that you do. And just a reminder to everyone, I will share that presentations afterwards in the follow-up email on Friday. So if you're not on the CSN resource email, you'll want to get on that so you can get these notes too. Okay, thank you again. All right, so we have Juan Leon from the Multnomah County SNAP Outreach Program. Thanks, Juan, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Annie. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. Let me go ahead and share the screen with you all. So as Annie mentioned, I work with Multnomah County SNAP Outreach. It's a program that has a contract with the Oregon Department of Human Services, the DHS. We work in partnership with DHS, and essentially we're another avenue for the community to access SNAP benefits. And for today, we will go ahead and talk about, SNAP basics, general eligibility requirements, application process, as well as the work that we do, which is distinct to the work that DHS does. And, keep in mind that the information right now is, the most current. Annually, the income guidelines change. So as of now, this is the most current information. So for those who might not know or are not familiar, SNAP, it stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Other folks know it by, food stamps or EBT, but it's all the same program. It's a federal nutrition program intended to help the low-income households, and it's run by the Oregon Department of Human Services, or DHS. As mentioned, we have a contract with DHS, so to do exclusively outreach work around SNAP or food stamps. And the way it works, basically they get provided household funds on an EBT card, which works sort of like a Visa or debit card, and they could go to any grocery stores and buy food. And who's eligible? Basically, it's based on, two criterias: the household size, as well as the monthly gross income. Household size is defined by anybody who buys, prepares, and eats together in the household, and the monthly gross income. And to the right, you'll see some examples of what counts as income. Money, someone's working, someone receiving unemployment benefits, SSI, SSD, child support. And if someone's just unsure about whether they should apply or not because they might not meet the income guidelines, we'll encourage them. We'll ask for a rough estimate of how much they're making, and then, based off of that, if it looks like they're within the threshold, then we'll go ahead and start an application with them. And one important thing to mention, we do not have access to the one system or the database that the DHS uses. So we're unable to see, the exact factors that take into account when determining eligibility. Nevertheless, we go ahead and assist folks in applying for SNAP benefits, whether it's the first time they need to renew their benefits or they need to report a change in the household. We can help with all that information or all those forms. And so how do I apply for SNAP? There's numerous ways. One is online through the one system, which is the fastest route for folks to apply. Matter of fact, folks are able to view their application status, the renew dates. It's just so much easier to go that route. Or you can also do people can call the phone number listed. It might take a while to receive a call or to get a hold of someone, but that's also another method for folks to apply. Or they are, members of the community can go to a DHS office and pick up an application, complete it, and drop it off there. Or they can download the PDF file, complete the application, and email it to the Oregon Benefits email, or go in person and drop it off. And lastly, folks can apply for SNAP with us, with Multnomah County SNAP Outreach. We'll go ahead and make an appointment with folks and complete the application with them. Since the pandemic, we've been doing more over the phone applications, but if someone requests to meet in person, we could definitely, meet with someone at our office. It's located in Northeast. I forgot to mention, we're part of Bienestar de la Familia, so it's a Multnomah County program. It's a social service program. SNAP is just one of the programs that we offer, but we also offer rental assistance right now, specifically on evictions. We have and numerous other social service, and I can send the flyer to Annie so she can share with all of you. But yeah, we can schedule an appointment, or we can also meet with folks wherever it's convenient for them, at a library or Starbucks, and complete the application there. So what makes us different from DHS? Well, we share general information around SNAP, and most of our work is done out in the community. We'll get invited to different events such as, resource fairs, community fairs. Sometimes we'll go to health centers, schools, trade schools, libraries, or just in general community organizations, and do some tabling, or they'll ask us if we can be there for like a 1 hour or 2 hours, and just be there to help folks enroll in SNAP. Oftentimes when we're tabling, folks go up to us and ask us about, just SNAP information, and they think that, for example, 5 years ago they applied, they got denied because they were over income. But as I mentioned earlier, income guidelines change annually. So then we go over the income guidelines, and it turns out they're eligible. So we'll set up an appointment or help them out on the spot with the SNAP application. So just informing the community as much as possible. As I mentioned, we also provide phone and in-person application assistance. Sometimes we'll work on the evenings or weekends to complete applications. Try to meet. We try to be available, as much available as we can to the community. We speak English and Spanish, but I also have access to interpretation services if needed. And while completing the application, sometimes we'll hear, you know, the clients mention that they're struggling with, you know, with their water bill. So, in addition to helping complete the application, we'll connect them with resources such as like the Portland Water Bureau water program, and or if they're struggling with rent, again, do a referral to Bienestar and help them with the rental assistance. So we try to you know, provide as many resources as we can as we're doing the SNAP application too. And in general, we just, you know, help people navigate the application process and ensure it goes as smooth as possible and advocate for the client. And yeah, as mentioned earlier, we do not have access to the one system that DHS uses, but we have partnerships with them. We have a partnership with them, and we can always reach out and ask for an application status, and they're really responsive. So that's the great thing about working with DHS and that, you know, partnership. And here's a visual about the application process. Basically, you know, we'll go ahead and schedule an appointment, complete the application at the preferred location or over the phone. Then we'll submit that application to DHS. DHS will review it and call the client for a phone interview. And lastly, then pick up the Oregon Trail card at a DHS office, or if the person wants to have the EBT card mailed to them, that's also an option. And it's really important to renew their benefits every 6 months. Otherwise, they'll get cut off or terminated, and then we'll have to go through the whole process again. So to avoid that, make sure to we tell folks, make sure to complete your paperwork at the 6 month mark, or if there's any changes such as they change address, we let them know, please inform DHS or inform us about that change, because then the paperwork will be sent to the old address, and you know, you won't renew because you don't have the paperwork, and your benefits will be terminated as a result. So yeah, that's something that we often mention to folks when completing the application. And here's our contact information. You can call or text us or send us an email, and we'll go ahead and follow up with the client within 1 to 2 days, get them scheduled, and help with the application. Also, if anybody is interested in having us go present at your organization or your the folks that you help, we would be more than happy to do so, and just talk more about our program.
Awesome, Juan. Thank you so much. Any questions? I do see one from Holly Hess in the chat. Do you only help complete the SNAP application, or do you assist with applying for other programs as well?
So it depends. If we're helping someone apply for SNAP and they happen to want to apply for TANF, we'll go ahead and complete the application for both. Well, it's the same application, but we'll just mark off that SNAP and TANF. But if it's only TANF, then unfortunately we cannot, just because of our grant and our contract with DHS is exclusively for SNAP. But like I said, if they're applying for SNAP and any other program at the same time, we can go ahead and help.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Let's see. Stephanie said the pandemic era SNAP boost that expired in March was really tough for our community. Do you know the likelihood of increased investment in the programming moving forward?
I do not. I'm not sure about that. I know they're working on the summer pandemic EBT, which is for folks that have students in school. They'll get additional benefits, but other than that, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. And then also, Juan, do you know much about the SNAP Farmers Market program in the summer and how that works, or is there a time frame that works?
Um, are you referring to the Double Up program?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we do have a flyer and I can share it with you. But based on my understanding, there are selected farmers markets in the area that participate in the Double Up program. Basically, anyone who has SNAP benefits can take their EBT card and show up to one of those farmers markets and let them know that they would like to purchase, um, you know, produce, and let them know that they're enrolled in SNAP, and they can then double up the benefits, or I think it's like $20. 20 is the maximum that they can double up. But yeah, I'll share with you the flyer that we have.
That would be great. And I don't know if Daniel or Nia are still on. I don't know if that is offered at some of the farmers markets that they work with, but it would be great to get an idea of which markets, and if not, potentially working with theirs too would be awesome. I know they don't do a lot of farmers markets, but potentially some.
Right, right.
I don't think that they're on anymore. Okay. And then do you know physically what a person needs to bring with them when they apply for SNAP? And maybe you went over this and I was monitoring things and missed it, but I'm just wondering, we'd like to start doing more of that at our fairs.
Right.
So just wondering
Yeah.
if I'm not
So
wrong.
basically when we complete an application with someone, all that we ask is their social security numbers and pay stubs if they work, or if, for example, someone is receiving child support, a letter stating that information details about how much they're receiving.
Okay.
But primarily just the social security numbers and pay stubs if they have them available. If they don't have them available at the moment, that's fine. We can just go ahead and complete the application and then collect the pay stubs later. Folks have 30 days to submit the pay stubs after they complete the application, or submit the application, I should say.
Okay, awesome. And do they have to have the card, the social security card, or can they just remember the number?
No. They can, if they have it memorized, the number, then that's perfectly fine. All we need to write is just the number on
Great.
the application.
Okay, we have a lot of questions in the chat, and Johanna, I'm sorry, did I say your name correctly?
Yes, you did. Thank
Great.
you.
Go ahead.
I just had a follow-up question in regards to the social security number. I've been working with a lot of participants who are new arrivals to the country and came and are undocumented and do not have a social security number or even an ID. And so I know that they can apply for example, OHP, but with applying for food stamp, has become something that they are not being qualified for. So just wanted to double check with you that without a social security number, someone cannot qualify for food stamps.
That's correct. That's correct. And but during those, if we come across folks like who have no social security, then we'll refer them to the Oregon Food Bank and even look up any locations near their zip code and provide information and details around that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, a couple comments, questions in the chat. Dawn said the Double Up program is available at more than just farmers markets. Dawn, are you on real quick? I don't work in this field, so, or maybe you could expand, or Juan, if you want to.
Oh, I was just going to mention that it is also available through participating grocery stores and some of the food box delivery programs, as well as farm delivery programs. So I would go into the website and put in the zip code of the area you're in or you're supporting and find out what specific stores are participating in that program. So It is year round. It's not just summers It's not just the farmers markets.
Okay.
It supports people eating healthy produce year round.
Love it. Love it. And that, just to be really clear for everyone, so that's in the SNAP website or the Double Up Food Bucks website.
Yes, I put it in the chat.
Oh gosh.
It has its own website outside of the state.
Great. Okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you very much. Awesome. Super important to share. Okay, how long does it take to help someone with rent? Lulu had asked.
With rents, right now it's only evictions only, and I believe right now we're not taking any new referrals. So we have a long wait list, but I can definitely let you know whenever we open up the wait list so you can share with everyone.
Perfect. And Juan, maybe you could put your email in the chat if that's
Of
okay.
course, yeah, no
And
problem.
then also, and then maybe Mulu, you could connect directly with Juan to be updated on that. And then Tatiana made a good point that folks can purchase vegetable seeds with their EBT card as well. Super awesome, because we're getting closer and closer to that season as well. So thank you for that. And is it Maya or Mia? I just want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly.
It's Maya.
Go ahead.
Juan, I was just going to ask, I've had clients have really good luck with BN-Star by doing 211 and asking for referrals through them, and basically just continuously checking if the weekly wait list is open. Is that the most efficient way? Because oftentimes when we call BN-Star or get in touch with like their emails listed on their website and whatnot, we can't get through to them and we never get an answer.
Yeah, so yes, that's also another option. And I think that would be the best option, just because the way it works is BNSTAD works in collaboration with or partnership with 211, and so 211 has a number of referrals they can send over, and so that's how we're able to receive the referrals from 211, because yeah, our line is just we have a high volume of calls that I think we receive around like 200 calls a day, so can only imagine how backed up we are with that.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Any additional questions you have for Juan? If you'd like to email Juan directly or send or call, that would be great. Thank you so much for the presentation and just a reminder of all the processes and supports in place. So thank you very much for that.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And last up, but not least, we have let's see, we have Meals on Wheels. We have Brianna Winningham.
Hello.
And Brianna, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Let me go ahead and pull my presentation up. All right, hopefully you all can see that.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, let me make my people box smaller so that I can see the presentation. There we go. Okay, so yeah, my name is Brianna Winningham. I'm an operations manager for Meals on Wheels people, and I specifically oversee the Multnomah County sites, although we do work in a pretty team-oriented pattern, so I'm known to pop up in other places as needed. I also just want to point out that Jody Grant is on the call as well. There might be a couple questions that come up that I might kick to Jody. She oversees operations in all counties. So at Meals on Wheels, people, we are dedicated to serving older adults food and addressing social isolation. This started over 50 years ago when 3 women kind of saw a need in the community and got together and started making hot meals for what started as 14 older adults in the Portland area. We now have a much bigger footprint. We also incorporate meals for kids, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, and supporting that with revenue generation. And we have PDX Pop, as well as the diner in Vancouver, which is kind of a dual purpose venture. So, and I will talk a little bit more about those things later on. So our vision is that no senior will go hungry or experience social isolation. In order to do that, we work on enriching lives and helping them maintain independence, specifically providing nutritious food. We know that a lot of times our older adults are able to get access to food, but it might not be the food that is best for them, just because those whole, nutritious, hearty meals can be hard to cook. And we also use our capacity to serve other populations where we're able. We do this by serving Multnomah, Washington, and Clark counties. We have 22 locations throughout those 3 counties. In the last year, we served over 1,300,000 meals. And that was to over 10,000 individuals. So we have a main kitchen in Southwest Portland where more than 6,000 meals are prepared every day to meet this need. And organization-wide, we do have over 1,700 volunteers per year in order to accomplish this. We have, I think when you hear Meals on Wheels, you immediately think of driving around and handing out food. That's certainly something we do. But we also really value our neighborhood dining centers where individuals can come in and have a meal and be a part of a dining room-like setting where they can meet up with friends and have social interactions. What's really cool about these neighborhood dining centers is that they are all kind of tailored to the communities they're in. Each has a little bit something different to offer, and seniors are able to go to multiple sites. As far as the home delivery portion of it, oh, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned with the neighborhood dining centers, they are open to anybody age 60 or over. If you're 60 or over, you show up when we feed you lunch. So with home delivered meals, they are also for people who are 60 or older, who are homebound, unable to cook for themselves, and who live in our service area. Important to note, it is not income-based. You can have a good income, but still not be able to physically prepare a healthy meal, and that is what we are for. The cost of the meal, our cost is $10.50. That includes the meal. It includes the social programming we offer, the services we offer. Nobody is asked to pay that. They're asked to contribute what they're able, and nobody is ever turned away if they're unable to contribute. One thing that we're really, really proud of is that we don't have a waiting list, and about 80% of senior meal programs in our country do have waiting lists. So we're very proud that when you call us, we're able to get you started very quickly. So what we're delivering are meals that are pre-made in our kitchen and able to be heated up in a microwave or oven. Different though, the difference between like that and something you could buy at your local grocery store is that these were made by registered dietitians, or these were approved by registered dietitians to meet the needs of our older adults, and they're specifically medically tailored meals. So we do serve more than 50 different scratch-made meals. We have vegetarian options. We are able to honor protein restrictions for people who have dietary restrictions. We really focus on high-quality protein, fresh vegetables, foods that are feeding their bodies, and something that we want everybody to be consuming. We also give out supplemental grocery items to help decrease food insecurity. Some of the things that we send out that are very popular are like cottage cheese, peanut butter, hard-boiled eggs, and we do have desserts. Quite frequently, these desserts are lower sugar than what you would get in most dessert offerings, So they kind of offer the ability to quench that sweet tooth without going overboard. And then, going back to the dining centers, in addition to these nutritionally balanced meals that we offer, in the middle, you're seeing one of our tilapia with pineapple salsa. We also really focus on holidays, cultural events. Not all of our centers offer these bottom things, the meditation, bingo games, technology classes, but they all offer something that's part of really responding to the community around them. Each center will determine kind of what the need is in that community and what they can offer to help, and open their doors accordingly. So one thing to really keep in mind is whenever we're talking about Meals on Wheels, we're not just talking about the food. The meals are in the name, but there's much more to it. A lot of our homebound clients and participants are very happy to see volunteers at their door. They cite having those visits and the phone calls from the volunteers as one of the biggest benefits. Volunteers and staff are trained to act as gatekeepers, and while we don't offer other services besides food, we often help people get in touch with those services. We are an organization that a lot of people who have not needed or utilized social services before kind of were their first point of impact, and so we act as gatekeepers quite frequently. And we really do focus social programs to reduce social isolation. A new thing for us that we're very excited about is pet programs. And that is recognizing that pets are so important to help combat loneliness in our older adults, and we are able to help keep their companions healthy. So volunteers are needed because we do serve a lot of clients. And 25% of our clients live below the poverty level. We, when I say that, that's really focusing on the food, but also we're just talking about people who in many cases don't have the access to drive to go somewhere, and we might be showing up at their door and kind of being one of the few people that they're interacting with. Our volunteers are wonderful at connecting in ways that staff would love to, but are sometimes pulled because of the number of clients. So our volunteers kind of help bridge that gap. We rely on 200 volunteers organization-wide every weekday to help us serve and deliver meals. And the estimated value of their volunteer time is over $2,800,000. So ways that people volunteer are as delivery drivers. That's kind of, I think, what people think of when they think of Meals on Wheels. But there's also other opportunities. So before a driver is able to pick up the food, someone has been there to pack the food and get it out the door. Our in-center dining, we need people to help prepare the meals and to serve it and to clean up. We also need people to greet newcomers to our site and say hello and be that warm face when they first walk in. Something that started during the pandemic that's been very important to us and will continue to be kind of a hallmark program is friendly chats. So this is where clients who wish to have more social interaction, maybe that delivery is not necessarily enough for them. We're calling them just to check in and kind of have a more casual, how's it going? What do you want to talk about conversation? That's really beneficial both to the clients and often to the volunteers. And in some cases, we have clients who are volunteers and find that very enriching to kind of help out from the comfort of their living room on their phone. We're always looking for community connectors, so that's people who are kind of willing to speak on our behalf at community events. And when we have big events like our Strive for Seniors or Donate Dinner, which are big fundraisers for us, we're always looking for volunteers there. And then our kind of just overall volunteer requirements. I love this slide. This volunteer is somebody who I've worked with a lot and is just very critical in the functioning of the Gresham site. So volunteers are 16 and up if they're going to volunteer by themselves, but there are often opportunities for school kids to come in, and that is a much beloved program. And all of our volunteers are background checked. other programs that we run are Meals for Kids. That's run out of our main office currently. And that's delivering to low-income families. In that setting, there's a different, they have the option to get individual meals or kind of packages to create meals from raw foods. That is funded by the Portland Children's Levy. We sell our gourmet popcorn via our website and to local grocers, and that helps support our programs. And the diner is really interesting because it's created as a restaurant where tips are not accepted, but you can donate instead. And it also offers the opportunity for diners age 60 and over to come in and have a restaurant style meal through our actual meal program. So they don't necessarily, not all of the menu items are on there, but some menu items would qualify as our regular meals, and it would be donation based instead of paying for the whole meal. All right. Does anybody have questions? Oh, I suppose I should. I'm going to drop in the comments how to get a hold of us to get us started. So I will enter that information, but basically we have an intake number and you can go to our website to sign up as well. The intake number, when you first call, does have the option to select other languages so that we are able to serve people who are not English speaking. And we do have a lot of bilingual staff that assist with that. Let me look through the questions here real quick. I see your volunteers bringing flower bouquets along with the deliveries. Oh, and when that happens, people are so excited. Actually, we just worked with AARP's Cupid Crew this on Valentine's Day to do that. But also we have multiple organizations that give us donations like that, and the impact on clients is pretty great. It's really wonderful to see. How do you measure the impact of your goal to decrease social isolation? We do annual surveys, and that is one of the questions is, how many interactions do you have every day? And do you feel that this is helping to reduce or are you less lonely? I don't know, Jody, how do we actually
No, I
word
was
the
like, I
question?
can't
Can
believe
you
you
help?
put that one to me. There's a couple
Yeah.
ways we do it. I think everybody knows that really anecdotally is where you see it. So while we do UCLA loneliness screening, both when you come into our programming and annually, we also survey clients who are on our social programs, how it's impacting them, what their level of satisfaction is. It's at 99.9% satisfaction. But really what I think a lot of the impact is just how many people are enrolled. And it's about 1/3 of our clients are enrolled in our Friendly Chats program. We also have a safety call program for when we let clients identify if they feel they need a safety call during an inclement weather event or an emergency, and we're able to contact them with direct resources. And again, I would say about half of our clients are involved in that program. So it's a little bit of everything tells you the whole story. So it's more about meeting a need, says that we are part of the solution, but data points are just very challenging for things like that.
And then I think there was one more question that I didn't get to.
I think it was about Meals for Kids, and honestly, I have to admit, I don't really know about that part of the website for sure, but I'm sure there's some number to call. It is the city of Portland exclusively, so it's not all of Multnomah County, and it's not offered in Washington County. It's supported by the Portland Children's Levy. At this point, I don't believe they have a waiting list, but that one is very much, unlike our traditional older adult funding, we get a percentage of money from the government, but it nowhere meets the need. And so we have to fundraise the rest or look to grants or other community support. And I think that one is largely, it's based on how much money the levy has.
Perfect. Maybe we can get that information and post that in the follow-up, if that would be okay.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you.
And there was one more question that was, do we deliver products like Insure? We do. It's a pretty high bar for qualification, but it is possible when that's what's needed instead of kind of the more traditional food.
Awesome. Any other questions for Brianna or Jody regarding this program? Okay, and I see that Brianna left the intake number in the chat. Thank you so much. And Brianna, would you mind putting your email in the chat as well, if you don't mind? Awesome. Okay, and I realize we're at 11 and you probably all have a lot of places to go. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to folks. Thank you to Nia and Daniel and Jacobsen and Justin and Juan and Brianna today for awesome presentations. Super appreciate the work that you all do. Leah, I think you had something to follow up with SNAP. Why don't you email that to me and then I'll put it in the follow-up notes. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. I'll stay on if anyone has any questions, but thank you again for all that you do. Thanks for showing up today. Thanks for presenting and have a great Tuesday.
Hey, Annie, are you still there?
I am here.
Hey, just a quick, it might be easier than an email. Just a point of clarification with the citizenship somebody was asking about. If just a quick note, like, because that's such a complicated eligibility piece for folks, we really want to encourage people, even if they don't have a social security number, because their documentation status might be one of those that's in a category that people might not be aware of, that they actually are eligible. So just even if folks don't, like what Juan said, they need a social security number, that's not necessarily always the case. It's just important to get everybody to apply, because we have a lot of folks that might be refugees, or we have undocumented folks themselves that are sometimes reticent to apply, but their children may be eligible for SNAP as US citizens, but they themselves may not. So it's just really just a little short note, if you can add that. Just yeah, if there's any questions, the SNAP advocates are a little different because they're not eligibility workers themselves and employed by DHS. They're great to manage in the community and have available for folks, because our workers are pretty tied up all the time. And there's always an ask from the community to have folks, you know, to help with applications. And it's just so mind-boggling the number of folks we have on SNAP, as you know.
I bet.
Yeah, and the other thing to be thinking about, I think somebody else asked about rent assistance, but if we have folks that are on OHP, and they are renting and they have an emergent need where they might be evicted, that they can, through their OHP, their care coordination team, if they reach out, perhaps get some services as a reminder.
Yep.
Because I know those waiting lists are long, and yeah, just those couple things. If you'll add that, that'd be groovy.
You bet. And I
Thanks
always
for doing all this work. I love it. I love all the programs. It's so exciting because you're like, oh my gosh.
There's so much happening, even in today's. I'm going to stop the recording here for just a second.
Sure.